All right. A very good evening to you if you are watching or listening from abroad, and a very good af- evening to you if you are watching or listening from Kenya. This is the Black Hot Fire News Update with me, Dimore. I'll be telling you about what has been happening throughout the whole of Africa on this Thursday, and of course, we'll be looking at a lot of things have been happening, a lot of theatrics, political theatrics, going to Kenya, where Kenya and Uganda is looking to end an import feud that was there. So initially, Kenya and Uganda had disagreed on importing of fuel, oil, over licensing, but it looks like Kenya and Uganda are resolving that. We're also going to be looking at news that the earth is spinning too fast and that it will soon lose a second. So it looks like they're reporting that the earth is spinning too fast, that soon it is going to lose a whole second. So we are going to be looking at the theatrics in that. We're going to be looking at how Wagner and the Malian army have been killing civilians. That is according to the Human Rights Watch. We're also going to be looking at what has been happening in Togo, with Togo passed a new constitution that will see it now become a parliamentary country that will be ruled by parliament over the president. Even the people of Togo, the Togolese people, will no longer be allowed to vote for their own president. And it looks like it was a plan by President Faureg Nassin to remain in power, because apparently now the parliament is the one that is going to vote for president. We're also going to be looking at Bassirou Diomaye Faye, the Senegalese president-elect, officially now. He won with 54.28% of the votes. We are going to look at 4 people who are sentenced to death in Tunisia for the assassination of Chakri Belaid, who was a politician, a left-wing politician in Tunisia. We're also going to be looking at how the Central Bank of Nigeria is raising interest rates to combat soaring inflation. So I don't know how raising interest rate is supposed to help curb inflation, because once you raise interest rate, once the Central Bank of raises the interest rate, then that will trickle down to the banks, and that will trickle down to lack of access to credit for the people of Nigeria. We're also going to be looking at Kenya, where Kenya has started to hand over to relatives the bodies of 429 members who died from the Doomsday Cult, that is the Shakahola massacre, where people were told to fast by this pastor, and they fasted, and many of them died. So the 429 bodies have started being handed over to their families for proper burial. And we're also going to look at Kimilili, where over 300 pupils were forced to study under trees after wind destroyed their classrooms. We're going to be looking at that and much, much more. So make sure you stay with me as I'll be taking you through everything that has been happening throughout the whole of Africa today, on this Thursday, and of course, since we last met. So let me start with Kenya, where over 300 pupils were forced to learn under trees after wind destroyed their classrooms. And this was in Nusemba RC Primary School in Kimilili Sub-County. The head teacher of the school, Mr. Joseph Masinde, said the destruction happened on Wednesday night. So there was a strong wind and it took away the roof, destroyed this primary school, the whole of it. And so today the 300 pupils were forced to learn under trees as they are waiting for government intervention so that the classes can be rebuilt. Don't know who to blame for that. It was a strong wind that destroyed the classrooms. In Kenya still, Kenya has started to hand over to relatives the bodies of 429 members of a Doomsday Cult. So the story goes, there was this pastor in coastal Kenya. His name was Pastor Mackenzie. So he told the people to fast. They wanted miracles, not to eat, but to fast themselves to death. And that is exactly what they did. They fasted to death in this cult. It was more of a cult. And when they fasted, they died. A lot of them died. And so today the government had started to hand over the bodies of the deceased to their family. for proper burial. When I talk about this news, I hardly believe I'm reporting this in 2024 that a pastor can tell people to fast to death, and they fasted to death. So that was what happened, and the bodies have started being given to the families for them to go and bury their loved ones. Extreme bodies from a vast rural area in coastal Kenya have shown signs of, people there was even those who had shown signs of starvations and were rescued and taken to hospitals refused to eat. Those who were almost starving to death and were rescued and taken to hospitals still refused to eat. They had to have food put in them as if they were in a coma. They had to be food was put in them in pipes because they refused to eat. They were telling the government to leave them alone. They know what they are doing. And a lot of people died. More than 500 people died in the cult. So authorities are using DNA testing to help identify bodies and their families because most of them died by starvation. So their faces and it was hard for you to identify them because of how their body looked. And some of them showed signs of strangulation. So not all of them died by starvation. It looks like some of them were strangled to death. So the bodies, after postmortem was done, quite a number of them showed signs of strangulation. This was a cult by Pastor Paul Mackenzie, who's still in custody, and his case is still ongoing. He's facing charges for murder, but his lawyers are arguing he murdered nobody. He just told them not to eat, and they did not eat, and they died. So his lawyers are arguing that a charge for murder is ridiculous, considering he didn't kill anybody physically. You know, so that is what is happening in Kenya. So let me send a link to Smart J who wants to join the conversation as we proceed. So I don't know, lawyers. I don't know if there is. I should ask a lawyer this: can he be charged for murder? Because his lawyers are arguing that he did not murder anybody. All he did was teach, and they followed. He told them not to eat, and they died. I would say they died out of stupidity. But he is being charged for murder. He's been in custody for quite a while. Francis Wanje is a father who lost his daughter, and he had an interview with the members of the media, and he said he lost 8 members of his family. 8 members. 8 members of his family died in the cult. Imagine that. But he says they have only been given 4 bodies, and they are hoping to get the remaining 4. Mackenzie and dozen of his associates were charged in February with the torture and murder of 191 children. The trial began on April 23rd, and Interior Minister Kithure Kindiki has declared Mackenzie's Good News Ministry as a criminal organized group. Mackenzie is serving a separate 1-year prison sentence after being found guilty of operating a film studio and producing films without valid license. So many Kenyans are arguing that it looks like the government is taking this issue as seriously as it should, considering it's been so many months since Mackenzie was arrested, and there's not yet been the case is not yet to be completed many years after the murders. And Smart J is with me. Smart J, I'm talking about the massacre that happened in Shakahola, with now the government has started to hand over the bodies of the victims who died. So 429 bodies were handed over. When I say bodies, you might not take it as seriously as you should. 429 people died because somebody told them not to eat. Somebody told them to fast to death, and they fasted to death. No, it was actually 500 plus. The 429 are the number of bodies that the government has handed over to their family members. So, Smart J, can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I know you can remember the Shakahola massacre very well.
I know about the issue, but I think Pastor Mackenzie cannot go anywhere in this government because
Mm-hmm.
you know this government supports almost 100% about religion because they brought Pastor Im here and
Mm-hmm.
other pastors. They are being treated as small gods here in Kenya. So I think Pastor Mackenzie will not go anywhere because people who are supporting this issue are in government, and also I think there were many threats which were going on. I think threats like selling of organs and stuff which came after, but the story was not well pushed by the mainstream media. So if
And
that was the reason,
mhm. Somebody
if
might
that was,
argue, why is the government not doing anything to regulate the churches and maybe to do what Kagame did in Rwanda, try and regulate the churches? But then I'll be quick to remind them of how Kenya works, the diversity of the voters, the identity of the voters. If you touch, and you know this, Matt J, if you mention the church, you're never going to get elected again in Kenya. You remember at one time we had Raila's wife, he was vying, so we had Raila's wife, Ida, talk about churches, talk about regulating churches while he was in Kisumu. And Raila had to come out and apologize because there was an uproar in the whole country. How dare you talk about churches?
because
How dare,
because
and you know, mhm,
because the people
go
who are
ahead.
because almost in every Sunday we can get
Mm-hmm,
almost every population here in Kenya goes to church. So politicians are using church now to sell their lies, and they
mm-hmm,
know that they can catch people there because they know they have went to the church for their soul to be healed, and
mm-hmm,
there they are very vulnerable for anything they are being told. So in every
mm-hmm,
Sunday they will go and being brainwashed by
mm-hmm,
their pastor that this government is working. But vice versa,
mm-hmm.
when they go at home, they see that the prices of unga is still up, the prices of everything is still up. So and people are dying out of this religion. So nobody is has the courage now to speak that these churches should be regulated. These churches should also declare their wealth because we know some churches which are very wealthy and their pastors are very wealthy, traveling with V8, others even buying private jets. Where are these coming? Where are this money, all money coming from? I think
So the question
if
is, would you blame the leaders, the politicians for not wanting to talk about church and religion, considering how the voters behave whenever church is mentioned? Would you blame them for not doing anything about the churches? Because
no,
once you
no,
mention churches in Kenya, everybody is coming for you. You saw that with Raila. You saw that with
you
who
know,
else talked about churches and they went for his.
the government and the churches are in bed together. I
Mhm,
think in every society, if the government and the church are in bed,
mhm,
we will be having a very bad society. Why? Because nobody will be checking on the government in terms of their spending, in terms of how they run the government. So I think government and the church have agreed to steal from its citizens because
mhm,
everybody will never speak on any wrongdoing if any leader does wrongdoing. Because if I was the time I was more when I was young,
mhm,
Catholic Church was standing so strong, condemning government in anything they were doing. But today,
mhm,
even pastors cannot call a press conference because if they call a press conference,
mhm,
they will be tagged as they are supporting the opposition, and also by tomorrow they will be have been maybe they have been given the money or maybe they have been called for a meeting in the state house and given some tokens there, and when they come out from that office they just
mhm.
keep quiet. So I think now many people, if they don't be vigilant about these cults which are going on, I think we will be having a lot of cults only protecting themselves under religion, but they will just be here to kill our people, from our youths. Also, the people who are old and the poor people will suffer because you
And
may see.
part of the blame also goes to the people themselves for being too gullible. I think the people are too gullible because
No, no,
it doesn't.
I think
They are too gullible. No, you can't tell me you are not gullible when somebody tells you to fast today. I
you
mean, it
know,
only takes
you
common
know
sense. It takes common
when
sense for you. For those ones that maybe are intimidated to give money. Those ones I may defend and say they have been kept in ignorance, and
when
those ones that. But when somebody is telling you to fast to death, I mean, even if you met a madman in the street, mad, like mentally not okay, and you told them to fast to death, they won't do it. Nobody is going to
no,
do it.
under religion you will do it, because in the Bible says that anybody which you will fast will be closer to God. When you
But not to
when you are,
death. Even the Bible does not mention fasting to death.
but those people know how to
Nobody.
twist the Bible. No, they know how to twist the Bible to be on their side. So I think anytime
Mhm,
any poor person, that's why in Africa religion
mhm.
has penetrated, because it sells us false hope.
True,
Maybe it's
and I
false hope.
understand that. I understand that, but I still stand with this. No matter the brainwashing, if somebody comes and tell you to fast to death and you fast to death, no matter how brainwashed you are, fast to death and you fast to death. This is the same as that other one. Was it in South Africa that told all the people to commit suicide? They drank poison and died, and he never drank it himself. A whole multitude of church of followers, cult followers, drank poison and died. So it does, no matter the brainwashing, you have to be really stupid for somebody to tell you not to eat today than he himself is eating. No matter the brainwashing, we have to take the blame also as African people for being too gullible to we just consume whatever we are fed without questioning. So it makes me sad when I see such things happening. 500 plus people dying because somebody told them not to eat and they did not eat and they died. Fasting to death. Come on. So that is what was happening in Kenya. So the bodies have been given back to their family. And the Kenya Human Rights Commission was saying that police failed to act on reports that could have prevented the deaths in the remote Shakahola area. But however, did you see when even those ones who were rescued, the way they behaved? I told you, even the ones who were rescued refused to eat, even in the hospitals. They had to have food injected on them as if they were in a coma. Even those ones who were rescued refused to eat. And you look at them, they're all adults, some 40, 50 years plus, fasting with their children. And that is how so many kids died, because their parents forced them to fast because they had been brainwashed. You look and you wonder, is there a difference between you, the parent, and the child? You who's forcing your child not to eat, and you don't need to be that naive. African people, you don't have to consume everything that you're fed. Doesn't make sense to me. It has never made sense to me how gullible sometimes we are, how ignorant we are, especially when it comes to religion. So the video that you are seeing on your screen is of the bodies being handed to the family members, the 429 of them. Let us now head to Nigeria, where the Central Bank of Nigeria has raised interest to combat the soaring inflation. So Nigeria's central bank implemented a significant increase in its monetary policy rate, raising its 200 basis point to 24.75 from the previous 22.75. That is according to Governor Oloyame Kadoso on Tuesday. The decision marks a continuation of the bank's effort to combat surging inflation. So last month, the bank executed its most substantial rate hike in approximately 17 years, elevating the rate by 4 percentage points. So Nigeria is going through a tough economic time with a lot of things not working. And the government decided the best way for it to gain money, for it to generate more money, was by raising the interest rates. And it has. And the government does not order banks to raise interest rates in most cases. All it does is it makes, once the central bank is going to trickle down to banks, because banks get financing from the CBK in most cases, and also the CBK may give outlines. The CBK, so in this case, the CBN, the Central Bank of Nigeria, may tell the banks to increase interest rates. And of course, that is going to make access to credit in Nigeria really, really hard, because nobody is going to go for loans anymore because of the high interest rates. And as you know, debts, especially let's not talk about external public debt, but debts from the loans from local loans from banks. Those are the ones that drive the economy, because one is going to go to the bank, take a loan, start a business, employ people. So once you cut on credit, once people cannot access credit, then a country is not going to grow, the economy is not going to grow. So Nigeria has decided to raise interest rates to combat inflation. Let's see how it works for them. Heading to Tunisia, 4 people have been sentenced to death for the assassination of a politician in 2013, Chokri Belaid. It looks like this week there have been so many death sentences. We started with looks like I'm having some trouble with my stream, but let me fix it in a bit. That is for those on YouTube. Yep, I'm back. I was having some troubles with my stream. So there has been several death sentences in Africa for the last couple of weeks. We started with the one in Nigeria that I was happy about, where they sentenced a Chinese man to death for killing his girlfriend. We had the other one in Kenya with Joey. And now in Tunisia, they sentenced 4 to death for the assassination of Chokri Belaid. He was a very famous politician there. He was assassinated in 2013. The 48-year-old leader of the Popular Front coalition was shot in his car outside his home in Tunisia in Feb 2013. His assassination, the country's first in decades, prompted mass protest and helped lead to the resignation of the prime minister. So it was a big, big deal. When he was murdered, people went to the streets. It even forced the prime minister to resign. The case was reopened last month after a former investigative judge was arrested on suspicion of concealing certain files. So after that, the others have been sentenced to death. There were 5 of them. One died in prison. So the 4 will now die in prison too, because they were sentenced to death. Let us now head to Togo, where Togo's opposition is rejecting constitutional reform calls. The reforms. So Togo has implemented a new constitution that will see Togo now become a parliamentary country, a parliamentary-led country, rather than the presidential-led one. So the parliament will be the one in charge of making major decisions, including electing the president. So activists and opposition leaders in Togo called on Wednesday, March 27th, for protests to stop the country's president from signing off a new constitution that would scrap future presidential election and would see Faure Gansibe extend his rule. Looks like that is his aim. The constitution, which was passed by the country's lawmakers earlier this week, but now awaits President Faure Gansigabe's final approval, grants Parliament the power to choose the president, doing away with direct elections. This makes it this makes it likely that Gnasibe will be re-elected when his mandate expires in 2025. I don't know how some of these countries work. I mean, in as much as most countries in Africa are messed up, but the parliament can. It only took the parliament to pass a new constitution in Togo. Meaning, as much as democracy in Africa is messed up, this one is too messed up. For a constitution to be passed in a country like Kenya, it takes a lot of things to be done. It takes a referendum, it takes a million signatures, it takes a lot of steps and processes, which might be rigged, but it takes a long process nevertheless. So in Togo, the MPs, the parliament passed the new constitution, and now the people of Togo, the Togolese people, will no longer be eligible to vote for the president. The president will be elected by the parliament, which will also be the ruling body. So it looks that the constitution actually restricts the power of future presidents, as it introduces a one-term and hands over great power to a figure similar to a prime minister, officially called the president of the Council of Ministers. Wow. So even the president will not really be powerful in Togo anymore, because the parliament is taking most of the power, and the power will also be transferred to the prime minister. So the president of the council of ministers will either be the leader of the party which secures the majority during the legislative elections, or the leader of the winning coalition of parties. And that will be the one who will rule the country. So it's a whole messed up thing happening in Congo, with now the people of Togo not being allowed even the joy of saying they voted for a president, even though they never really vote for a president, but at least give them the hope, tell them the hope that they voted for a president. So now they won't be able to. But I know what is going to happen with what has been happening. I'm sure the people of Togo will go to the streets like they were told to. And let's see whether Faure Gnansgbe, the president of Togo, will sign the bill into law. Moving to Mali, the Human Rights Watch is accusing Wagner of killing civilians with Malian army. The Russian mercenary group known as Wagner is helping government forces in central and northern Mali carry out raids and drone strikes that have killed scores of civilians, including many children. Rights groups said in a report published this week that span of the period from December to March saw the murder of so many civilians. Mali, along with its neighbors Burkina Faso and Niger, has for over a decade battled jihadi groups and a lot of other instabilities. And the Wagners came in, the whole talk of the lesser devil that Keith never wants to hear. So the Wagners came in, and the people of Mali thought, wow, a lesser devil. And they took in the Wagners and welcomed them to their country. And they have been helping them with military attacks and drone attacks. And now they are being accused of killing scores and scores of civilians. And I don't know if Smart J is still with me. I want to know what Smart J thinks about Africans believing Russians are their friends, thinking Russians are the better. Kids never wants to hear this, thinking the Russians are the lesser demon. If Smart J is with me, I would like to know what he thinks about the way Africans are now embracing Russians. We saw that in DRC when there were those attacks and the people took to the streets as they were protesting, as they were out there shouting their voices out, saying away with Western imperialism. They carried Russian flags. So it looks like they are welcoming Russia, thinking Russia is an ally to them. Russia is a friend. That is the depiction that people think. And a big shout out to Jiba Jaba who's with me. So the Human Rights Watch is reporting that scores and scores of civilians have been killed by drone attacks by the Wagner, who of course do not care about the people of Mali in any way, but at their own contract basis. So I don't know what they're getting paid with, probably minerals, but looks like they have been killing civilians. In an example is a raid carried out by Russian-backed government forces in January, where the Human Rights Watch said the army entered a village near a military base in central Mali and arrested 25 people, including 4 children. Their bodies were later found that day, blindfolded and with bullet Wow, 25 people and 4 children. They were arrested by the Russian-backed government forces in January, and their bodies were found later that day, blindfolded and with bullet wounds to the head. Amnesty International said in a separate report earlier this week that 2 drone strikes in northern Mali killed at least 13 civilians, including 7 children aged between 2 and 17. A pregnant woman was injured in the bombing, miscarried days after the attack. That was according to a report by Amnesty International. Human Rights Watch has said the Turkish-supplied drones in Mali are capable of delivering precise laser-guided bombs, and but it looks like they are not interested in that. And
Hold on, Demora. Let's not jump to conclusion. I don't trust any Western news talk about
Mhm.
something dying and try to paint a broad brush. This is what they do. This is what the CIA does and the white media does. There's no way to
Mhm.
collaborate this. So I can't
Mhm.
even. I see Maria and them jumping on it too over in Uganda. There's no way to
Mhm.
collaborate this. We're falling for the damn banana in the tailpipe again. That's what they do. They put
Mhm.
white propaganda. All this now. There's civilians being murdered. According to who? What are the sources? Don't always
The sources are very suspicious, by the way. One of them is the
exactly.
Human Rights Watch.
There you
The other
go.
one is
Then
Amnesty
you might
International.
you might well say the UN and the white Americans who are trying to cause this division. How they get it? They're not letting them in. They kicked them out the country. So how would they even know? And you would, and if this was the case, you would always see the Malians in the street protesting this. Always
Mhm.
understand. See, me being in the military, this is how they foam their fake reason for going to a country. They don't give a shit about black people. Now they worry about
Mhm.
four deaths and bombing villages. While the French and the humans there, they had killings of real people all the time and didn't change nothing because they had control of the resources. They wouldn't worry about that. Always be suspicious
Mhm.
when now you see all when you have them throwing these white people ass out of there
Mhm.
and them trying to get their country right of supposed massacres. Always know that's their MO, Gamora. That's their modus
Mhm.
operandi. That's what they do. Say, oh, look at this. We should have a humanitarian mission. Go back into Mali. I kicked your punk ass out of here. I don't know humanitarian mission come back up in here. See, this. So understand. Let's always check the sources.
Mhm.
Where's this news coming from? Who does it benefit? Right? Who does it benefit? And then, let's not just report something that we don't know because we're now promoting propaganda because we got no
Mhm.
credible sources. Let's hear from the government of Mali, see what their response is to the story. Because that just,
In as much as this might be propaganda, which I think it is also time for African people to stop the naivety. This talk of
exactly.
people thinking Russians are their friends, because you saw
No,
that in
they're not.
DRC, kid.
They're
You
not.
saw that in DRC when the people of DRC went to the streets to protest, and they were saying, they were shouting their voices out, saying away with Western imperialism, away with Western whatever, but they were carrying Russian flags.
Russian flags because it's the
Yeah,
same.
so
You're talking
they
about. Yeah, unlike you, Demore, you're educated. Most Africans are childlike in the mind. So you got to go because like you got 2 centuries, Demore.
Mhm.
Africans being encapsulated as
Mhm.
children. They was looking for somebody to come save them instead, like you said, growing up and realize you're the adult. You're gonna save yourself. That's why wait for some white savior every time. You get one. The whole thing. The funny part
Mhm.
about how Africans got conquered the last 1,000 years is this joke. Shout out to Dr. John Henry Clark said,
Mhm.
the Africans never learned when the Romans were on their back. They shouted for the Arabs to come in and get the Romans off their back. And then the Romans got on their back. Then the Arabs got on their back. Then they cried for the Arabs to get off their back and said, we're partnering with the white man, with the Caucasian man, to get the Arabs off their back. And then they got the Arabs, and the white man got the Arabs off their back, and then the white man got on their back.
And so
How about you?
the question that we should be asking ourselves is, for us to know why a piper is playing a certain tune, you have to look at who pays them. And so I'm looking at where does Amnesty International gets its funding from.
From America,
And
UN. And
it says I haven't asked where what and what they don't accept, but the first thing they are saying is Amnesty does not accept donations from government and government organizations. I haven't
yeah,
asked.
but it's NGOs. These they still
I
own
asked
it.
who funds Amnesty, and they are telling me who doesn't.
Yeah, they know exactly because it's the CIA NGOs, Amore.
Mhm.
That's how they fit. Because they know finally somebody gonna start asking common sense questions, Amore. Amnesty International is wicked. It's anti-African. Works against African people. Where were they when they were killing Gaddafi and dragging his body through the streets and the inhumane shit they would do? They would know they called Gaddafi a terrorist when he wasn't. That's what And these they make up all these fake fuck organizations, Demore, make them sound good, but they do exactly the opposite what they say they're gonna do. Oh, we're a humanitarian firm. No, they're not. They're a cover story for these people. That's what they
And
are.
Jiba Jaba says he does not believe a thing that comes from an NGO. If an
Not,
NGO told Jiba Jaba it's on a Thursday, he's not believing it.
yeah,
He's not believing anything from an NGO.
yeah. Whenever I see this, you already know the playbook. It's the same playbook they do over and over again. Same thing they did with Gaddafi. Oh, this baby's dead and Gaddafi's responsible. They're like, what? And now they, oh, what? He got punk ass Obama. All right, what's wrong? He knew he was wrong then. It was my worst mistake. It wasn't a mistake. What he meant to do? To destroy Libya. Libya's been utterly destroyed from a great country that they utterly destroyed it. Now it is. I mean, I'm not no fan of Libya because they Arabs. They treat black people fucked up. But I'm just saying what happened because it's funny. You know, the country had free medical, free college, free.
Mhm.
Everybody got the money from the oil. When nobody impoverished, free housing. Now everybody's poor, fucked up, and that's the democracy they say they brought Libya. We bringing you democracy, and everything's all fucked up, you know, broken. No shit work. It's like the rest of Africa now. We brought you democracy. Here you go, motherfuckers. Take the democracy.
And on other news, it looks like you may have to reset your watch pretty soon because the ones who think they know are saying that the earth is spinning too fast and we will soon lose a second. So that the changing rotation of the earth threatens to upend the perception of time. So they're saying for the first time in history, timekeepers around the world may have to consider subtracting a second from our clocks in a few years because the planet is spinning a little faster than before. This is according to
Yeah.
to Duncan Agnew, a geophysics at the Skips Institution of Oceanography at the University of California. So they released this whole statement that say the earth is going too fast and we may soon need to reset our watches in the next few years. So in the next 2 years, my show will be
Who gives,
starting at 7:01:01.
a shit about that?
So in the next few years, my show will be starting at 7:01.
who
Looks
gives,
like we are going
who gives,
to
who gives a shit about that nonsense?
and, and lastly,
Time,
I'm back now.
time is already an illusion anyway. It's only because we live in third density that you get time and space. It's an illusion anyway. That's a waste of time. You know, it's going to be in about 2,000 more years, we're going to lose a second. Oh my God! Oh no! Oh my God! Not a whole second, Demore. What will I do? What
how
will
will
I
we live?
do?
How is
Oh,
the world going to be without
yeah,
that
how will
one
we
second?
live? How am I gonna go on? And my stomach is touching my backbone, and you talking about a second of time.
And lastly, as we come to the end, it looks
I
on
got
better news. Better news. A good. These are good news. Kenya and Uganda have agreed to end they had an ongoing war where Uganda had
why?
decided it will not import oil
Oh,
from Kenya.
oil.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You get what you get. I got the port, you dumbass. You don't got no. You do. Kenya, I'm kidding. You do that. You do what I tell you to do, or your shit'll be high. I got the port. You know. How about that? See,
So
you didn't want to make a
I don't
united.
know
You
why.
didn't want.
I don't know.
You don't want to make a united Africa because you worry about your goofy little power that's not really no power. See, but now you got to pay my price. I'm Kenya. I got the port, nigga. I'm by side. Ain't no port in Kampala, nigga.
So funny story is, I remember being told this by my dad. I don't know how true it is, but he
All
was
right.
telling me in the 2007, 2008 post-election violence. So it caused there was no mobility anymore. So it wasn't possible for trucks to pass through Kenya going to Uganda. So the people of Uganda ate food that did not have salt for quite some time. They had no salt there, so people were eating food without salt because they couldn't.
I believe that's true because you had too many ethnic groups fighting each other. Probably your first, the ethnic groups were fighting each other, right, Demore? Everybody was fighting each other, so they didn't have free movement of goods. Yeah, that's true.
We had to eat food without salt for quite some
Yeah,
time over
you
there.
put, all you gotta do is take some leaves and rub that on your food. That's make it salty shit.
And, but, so and Kenya really cannot, in as much as we have the port, most of our electricity comes from Uganda, so you don't really want to
Oh
mess with
shit, you
Uganda.
can't. Oh, I didn't know. Oh yeah, you can't do that. Oh,
Yeah.
Kenya, you ain't built your electricity up in 60 years of independence. God damn. Your electricity comes from Uganda, and they
Yes.
shit don't even look right most of the time. God
So
damn. That's why the lights always going off in Kenya. Oh, okay. Now I understand.
mhm.
Shout out to you for 70. You got what? You get electricity from a country that's more fucked up than you are. What? That's my
So
Joe again. What?
we last year alone we exported about 20 million units of power from Uganda. So Kenya Power buys electricity from Uganda because it cannot produce enough
Trying
electricity
for
to
this stuff
sustain
out.
the Kenyan market.
And that's because of bad man. That do about it's bad management, family. There's no reason why. Hey, Kenya's got everything they need to have electricity. Hell, you got the Great Lakes. The Great Lakes alone make a
Mhm,
damn. That would power all Kenya and give most of Africa. But you won't do it. You
mhm,
won't do that because you need the white man, like the Morris said. I'm waiting on the Russians. I'm waiting on the Chinese. Come help me build something, please, white and Asian daddy.
those,
So
those
it's
people who sell
crazy.
power to those people who sell power
Go
to
ahead,
Kenya
go
Power,
ahead,
what
Smart
Oh,
J.
oh, Smart J, go ahead. Go, Smart J. I know Smart J was in the building. How you doing, brother? Hope everything's good with you. Go ahead.
I'm good. I say those people who sell power to Kenya Power are called independent power producers, and they are costing a lot to our power because I think
Mhm,
they are the most expensive people we
So,
pay for our power
so
because here you
it's
can
even
pay
overpriced. Even
yeah.
overpriced.
yeah, because here you can pay almost 500 almost $5 and $2.5 goes to those people and the remaining
God
one
damn. God
and
damn.
almost all of them goes to those people and you are remaining with your power which is less because when
This
you
how
when you purchase
this how
power in
you
Kenya you are being told oh, these are the people which we are paying them. I know you understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I understand exactly what you're talking about. And the more,
so
like, so these are kickback schemes and scams because the Europeans set up these corrupt governments, family. When they left, they made sure Africa would fail with these goddamn cartels and these puppet ass these families that they left in power. All these African nations. That's why shit don't work. You get Kenya has
I don't
everything
know.
it needs. Kenya has
I don't know
everything
what
it
you
needs
think.
to create sustainable power. Go ahead,
I
Adamari.
don't I don't know what you think about the video that I've
Windmills,
just shared. The video I've
windmills
just
are
shared is
windmills are worthless, Demore. That's the scam
yeah.
the white man is at work. It costs. Check it out, Demore. I'm gonna let you study this tomorrow. It costs
Mhm,
more energy to build that worthless shit than
mhm,
it produces. That's the Green New Deal scam. That's the global warming scam. So you paying
mhm,
them, Demore, just to make sure you keep paying white people for their technology that doesn't work. Remember, they're dissembling because it doesn't work. I showed you a video where they don't use that. They're going back into South Africa, getting the
mhm,
coal and the other shit, because that shit doesn't work, Demore. It can't,
mhm,
but you can't build a manufacturing base on windmills and solar panels. It's a scam. It doesn't work, Demore. That's why you got Germany right now, who's now what? Losing its manufacturing because they fed Germany that load of bullshit. And you can look that up. Say
mhm,
the biggest economy in Europe, Demore, Germany, is now collapsing because it has no energy. Look it up. They got them with that windmill and goddamn solar panel bullshit. that,
mhm,
they all in Kenya. Look at that. That looks like the Rift Valley somewhere. Look at that bullshit. It doesn't work tomorrow. That's why you still got blackouts. It's a scam. So now you're paying people billions of dollars. It's what white people do. They sell you shit that don't work, and you're gonna pay billions of dollars because you don't build them. It'd be all right if it didn't work and you built them and you got your own money from yourself. You're paying people billions of dollars more for shit that don't work. And you're taking loans for it. So you mean you're paying 3 times the price of that worthless shit. It's worthless. It's worthless the more.
This is
Look
the
at Germany.
other.
Go
I'm
ahead, go
gonna show
ahead.
you all the alternatives. This is the other alternative that we have. It is a geothermal power plant in Naivasha.
It's
I don't
all
know if this is gonna work
it's all
also.
fraudulent. No, what you do, the more clean and effective, easy energy, what Bikini Faso models, you do small nuclear power plants. They don't want you to have nuclear because then you can defend yourself. Then you can make a bomb, Demore. They can't come steal your
We
resources.
actually we actually have a nuclear, I don't know what to call it because I can't call it a plant, but we have
It
a
ain't a nuclear
nuclear
power plant.
we have a nuclear
One
station
one nuclear
nearby.
power plant out,
We
then it
have a
must don't work.
station. Yep, we
One
have a
nuclear
nuclear
power
station in
plant
Nairobi that
One
doesn't work.
nuclear power, one nuclear power plant tomorrow would fuel the whole goddamn country and cheap tomorrow, cheap as hell. Why the white man won't give you that? Because you can make a bomb out of it and you can defend yourself.
Lamu.
Yes, Smart J.
Nuclear is in Lamu, not in Nairobi.
We
But
have
those
another
people are,
one near. We have one near, actually near the studio. It's
Do they work?
no. It's more of a lab that they test whatever they test.
So it's bullshit. So
Mhm.
till you get his backbone, that's why you heard Ibram Traore said we're gonna go nuclear. Why would the white man? See these puppets gonna ask the white man, please, white daddy, can I have nuclear power? No, hell no, you can't. That's why I told you when they took it out of South Africa, when when that fake apartheid shit ended, and they didn't end because of the white man. Because I told you because Angola told them we're gonna kill every white man, white child. Because there was a war between Angola and between Angola and Namibia, South Africa, and Angola crushed that ass. So that's the war you never know. I had to have Seto in the Uganda to look it up. Like, so yeah, this shit the white man don't want you to know. That when you have a real military, you can win. But that's why they want you to have a real military. That's why they want you to have nuclear power. It's all right for him to have it. They tell you about these fucking windmills and solar panel bullshit. You keep that. Really say, hey man, you keep that bullshit. You do it. If you want to do it, you do it. That's good for your country. You do that shit. But for me in Kenya, we're gonna do nuclear power here. Cheap. Since I gotta build my economy, I need it very cheaply, Demore, so people can afford it. So it means I'm lighting up all of Kenya for little to nothing. And
So
it's cheap. Go
the
ahead.
narrative going on right now is that in Kilifi they are going to build a nuclear power plant by 2027.
2027. It should have been built
Yep.
one. Wait. I don't believe it. Who's backing it? Is anybody white building it? If it's come from
Let,
England, America, Germany, you can forget that shit. There's gonna be some
let's find
bullshit
out.
going on. Go ahead.
Let's find out. Let's
Always
find
go
out.
back and trace it. That's right. What company?
India's first nuclear power plant with Uyombo village as the preferred site. Now, the Nuclear Power and Energy Agency held a sensitization forum for the local community to demystify the fears. The 5 days of public
Yeah, they're scared.
participation brought together 13 opinion leaders from Uyombo village and experts
So
from the US and Argentina.
there you go. So you about 13 morons from a village. They talk to these American businessmen who are going to say, yeah, if we only want to give so much power, they don't know what the fuck is going on. See, whenever you say America, I know it's some bullshit going on. Whenever you say America,
The
Britain,
workshop
France, go ahead.
and brings us the story.
The debate as to whether adoption of nuclear energy is the way to go continues.
I want to start with my friend.
The Nuclear Power
They show,
and Energy
and look at
Agency
that
report
old ass
says
plant. Nuclear
the
don't even
country
work
is
like that no
entering
more.
the ghost.
They showing some old ass plant no more. Nuclear don't even work. That's some old ass shit they showing from the 1950s. That shit don't work like that.
And brings
Let's
us the story.
see it again. This is the
Go ahead.
nuclear There
Good.
it is.
The debate as to whether
Nuclear does not work like this. I've never seen a nuclear plant except
No,
in
that's some old ass shit right there. That's an old that's like the Chinese building that old ass standard gauge railway shit. No, nuclear technology, Demore, is clean, easy, and effective. You know, see, they want to build you some cheap shit again, Demore, but charge you premium. That's what these no good bastards do. They want to build you bullshit that's outdated, Demore, at premium prices, like that railroad you got. They want to charge you.
adoption of nuclear energy is
Good, good.
I want to start with my friend.
the Nuclear Power and Energy Agency NUPEA says the country is at a critical stage of implementing Vision 2030 project, which
See,
require high
see,
energy. The
Agenda
projects include
2030. Get
industrial
out of here with
parks
that shit.
across the country that require about 500 megawatts of energy. Resort cities like Dongo Kundu Special Economic Zone require about 100 megawatts to run efficiently.
Within this Kilifi County, they also
So they were actually holding. I'm not gonna finish the video because Kamlesh and Joby are coming up in a bit. So they were holding a public sensitization meeting, telling the people we are going to kill this.
You tell them two bastards to hold on. The more they took their time with that show they did for 5 hours today. Shit, goddamn. They did a 5 hour show. Shit.
several resources that have been planned. And also now we know there's an upside project that requires about 700 megawatts.
But if you want to see how the media is used to drive agendas, and of course people are going to support it.
Exactly.
Look at the
Is it-
headline. Look at the headline below.
Yeah, because they don't own. You don't own your own media. You never have. You don't own it. Africans don't own their own media. What's it say?
We call it the lower third. Look at the lower third. The lower third reads, the project will employ hundreds of residents. Of course, the residents will see that and they'll support this project.
Yeah, because they don't know any better. They don't know any better. That they give you some O's. And look, it's going to be a loan, family. It's going to be a high-ass loan for some outdated shit. See, they don't want you to get, the scam is family. They don't want Africa to ever develop. If you develop with real power, now you can have manufacturing. That's why you got the war right now in Ethiopia. Because they told you, oh, we're going to start having power and manufacturing. They said, oh, no, you're not. That's a war. Good. First part, Jay.
My question is nuclear plant advantage for Africa or not?
Hell yes, it is. Not that one. Not that old raggedy shit that Demar is short. But yeah, hell yeah. Did you get a nuclear power plant? Hell yeah, Smart J. That means your power, your power. If you don't got corrupt people stealing the money, let me just say what it's supposed to do. If you get nuclear power in Kenya, Smart J, it means your electric bill is little to nothing, and it can power the whole country. No more blackouts. No more blackouts. No more, because you got the material to run it. You got uranium and all that shit in Africa. So you got all the material in Africa. So you won't have any blackouts, and it's cheap.
It looks. I don't know how true this is, kid, but I've checked, and there is one nuclear power station in Africa. It is in South Africa.
I know. That's what I said. Yeah, because I told you it was in South Africa. Then they took the bomb and they sent and gave it to where? Israel. Say, put us up tomorrow. Say, when did South Africa give its nuclear bomb to Israel, of all people? You know why? They know these cats with the small hats run South Africa. Say, what year did South Africa give its nuclear bomb to Israel? And you see, right when they had apartheid. We can't have these niggas had no bomb. Are you crazy? We can't rob and steal from these bastards. You find it, Demore? Say, what year did
1975?
When South Africa gave up its nuclear, that's why when they invented it, when they built it, when did they turn it over? What year did South Africa turn over its nuclear bomb?
Talking about the Israel-South Africa agreement was a secret defense cooperation.
That's right. Because the cats with the small gear, they both developing the bomb. Because the cats with the small hats run South Africa. The De Beers and the Oppenheimers. The small hat cat who own the diamond mines. stole the diamond mines from
Uh,
African people. So they built the bomb tomorrow. They built a nuclear bomb because they couldn't defend. Because Angola was starting to whip their ass. Angola, see, this is a war you don't know about. Most Africans don't know about it. Angola had made an edict because Angola got rid of and started building a real military. There was a real military power on the continent. It was a real fuck. I'm military. I know what a real. There's a real fucking military. Not that bullshit Kenya shit. Not that bullshit Nigeria shit. A real fucking military they built. So, so they started beating up the white man who was going and trying to control Mozambique, Botswana, Zimbabwe was getting free, and so Zimbabwe, South Africa still controlled Namibia as well, and so Angola had beat a mechanized, sophisticated army, a white army. That's why white people were all mad. And so Angola gave the edict to Maury. Either you stop your bullshit with this apartheid, and Africans being too nice again. I was telling you all gotta go, and you gotta get a land back. But the Africans don't do that. They all gotta be sweet. They said, listen here, you don't stop apartheid, we're gonna murder. These their words, not mine. We're gonna murder every white man, every white woman, every white child we find in Namibia, Botswana, and South Africa. And so that's when you hear the fake story. Oh, the more we white people decide to do good, we let Nelson Mandela out of jail. We seen the light, the more. We seen the light. It's Jesus. not that ain't going to say I'm going to knock in your goddamn mouth and kill everybody. I'm not going to tell you that. They're going to tell you, oh, white people just decided to become good and stop apartheid. That's what they teach you. That's what they teach you. And it's a lie. They teach you, oh, Nelson Mandela, that boot-looking handkerchief head sellout ass nigga, he's a puppet ass nigga. That had nothing to do with him. It's Angola. So always when you get a chance tomorrow, study, go look up the secret war between Angola and South Africa. Type that in YouTube. So they had nuclear power tomorrow because the white people control South Africa because it works. It works tomorrow. Now you got South Africa. They gave back to the blacks. They got windmills and solar panels, and they got blackouts and shit in South Africa because the shit don't work. Yeah, get these dumb niggas this shit here. That nuclear power tomorrow because it works. That's why.
and Jiba Jaba also does not buy into the lies. He's saying, no, you can power no industry with solar panels.
No, that's why they don't want African development. They're talking about this credit chain that Africans gonna do carbon credits, all that dumb shit to keep Africans poor. And everyone these bootlicking handkerchief heads, people don't know what it's about. You got Ruto talking stupid as shit to the Kenyan people because they don't know what the hell's going on. He's an absolute puppet like the rest of them. Talking about we're gonna do carbon credits. You can't develop an industry off that shit, the Moray. So at least you're impoverished. That's on purpose. That's why they did the first that climate summit shit in Kenya. And they come lying to you. We know we did you wrong. You that lady, when she came there, we know we did you niggas wrong, but now we're gonna do right. Just buy our bullshit. Buy new solar panels and windmills, the Moray. What? Get out of here with that shit. These stupid solar panels, you can't build no industry off the back of that shit that don't work tomorrow. How you gonna have a manufacturing plant tomorrow building cars and shipbuilding and clothing factories and all innovations that Kenyan Africans need off that bullshit there? You can't. It's a scam. It's a lie. Because Agenda 2030 is depopulation. They don't expect the shit to work tomorrow. I told you electric car shit was
the new, of course, it is the new cool thing. Talking about, if you talk about, it is the new narrative. If you say, I was saying, if you want to sell anything, just say it is eco-friendly, it is green. People are going to buy it. So it is the new narrative.
If you're a moron, no, it ain't, because most people know it's fake. Simply asking.
It is the new.
Look at this, the more. Like I told Campbell's crazy ass. Look this up. See that the damn Electric car is now losing value because nobody wants to buy the shit because they don't work. They don't work for shit. People found out in America this year when it got cold, they was all stranded and freezing to death in that bullshit. Say, say electric cars have now started to decline. Put that up. The Chinese can't even get them motherfuckers away. They got them stockpiled in China, Demore. Stockpiled out there. I want to buy that shit. Fucking electric car.
Yeah, it is true. EV sales have declined
I told
since
you that.
yep.
Tomorrow, when have I ever lied to you?
And then as we come to the end of the show, I was thinking of calling my show eco-friendly, green, so that it can get more viewers.
Go ahead, see what happens. It might do. Then they get their damn
As we
robot to
come to
listen
the
to what you
end of the
said.
show,
They
this
gonna
has
get
been
their
the Black
AI
Hot
said
Fire News.
nah. They don't get the AI. They don't get the AI said nah. This ain't about no green energy. This nigga think he's slick.
and and Ziva Java says windmills have a lifespan of 10 years or so, so it is a scam.
Yeah.
And
It don't last that long. And the whole thing is it's old. The fact that it's even old technology, Jeff, that's worse than what you had 120 years ago when they had the first electric cars. Right, Canvas looked that up and Joby. It's worse than you had 100 because that's the scam. The
so,
scam is to depopulate people. These are
so
all scams.
you need to
Go
get
ahead.
your reggae shoes on because Kamlesh and Joby are coming up in a
All
bit.
right, here we
But
go. Let's go.
make make sure you join me tomorrow on the Black Hot Fire News
They
update
they
on
won't they they
my
won't
new
they won't
eco-friendly show. My show is eco-friendly from
they won't join if I drop a solar panel on their head. Get out of here.
join me tomorrow on my eco-friendly show. It is green and it
That
has
means
zero
that
carbon emission.
hey, Smart J. That means he won't show up because there won't be no power none of that shit. Oh, hey, and Demore, you can't power no cryptocurrency up no damn windmills and damn solar panels. So your crypto dreams, Demore, are gonna be shot to hell.
But one thing I believe, Keith, is that there is so much power from the sun, only that you haven't found a good way to harness it.
It is. You talking about the ether? That I would came. You talking about the ether? There is power from the sun. But it's like the solar panel. It's called the ether. Demore. They took that out. See, these no good bastards know really how shit works. I told you, they dumbed everybody down. I want you to do this tomorrow. Demore. Go look this up. Use a computer. Oh yeah. And this weekend, stay lit. I'm gonna have Spikes come show you this weekend how to put your articles on a network
All
on
right.
Saturday. But look this up tomorrow. Don't go back and look at an old periodic table from before 1920 and see if there's an element called ether. What the ether now that your ether is a make believe shit is not. That's your sun. That's the thing you can't see. That's the power, Demore. That's in a square a kilometer of just space. Empty space is not empty. It's full of energy. It's the ether. If you learn how to vortex within the ether, you have unlimited power. Clean, free energy. Free, not cheap. Free. They know how to do it, but they kill everybody who's done it. It works off frequency. That's what Tesla was talking about. But he just rediscovered it, like he said. This is ancient science. The more African knew this thousands of years ago. So when you get a chance, go look up ether. Go look up, say, give me images of the periodic table if they ain't hit it too much before. And you're going to have to search the more. You're going to have to search this shit before 1920. And in that table, you're going to see the element called ether. They don't want you to know about the ether. Ether is the actual, the ether is the spiritual realm. Because they want you to believe all this fake Jesus and Allah shit. Not knowing that spirit is really real. Ether is the spirit realm, the unseen realm, which is real. So that was part of the periodic table. It's called ether. So look that up when you get a chance. Now you're gonna do some digging. They didn't hit all this shit. So you're gonna have to go you're gonna have to be
Because
a researcher.
I'm having to deal with a lot of ether has never been part of the periodic table right now.
See, exactly. See, I told you right here, and it has been. See, that's why they tell you it's never been part of the periodic table. How they knew you were gonna look there to tell you it wasn't never there. You see,
They
I
are
want you to.
they are volunteering information now.
They would never
Good
have to tell
people,
you
good people.
tomorrow. They would never tell you tomorrow that it wasn't never there if it was there to begin with. Why would I have to tell you it was never there?
They're trying to be helpful, giving me information I've not asked for.
Exactly. Much
Right,
love,
right.
family. Much love,
So,
Smart J.
Deepa Jaba, Smart J, get your shoes ready. Kamlesh and Joby are coming up in a bit. And Keith, also get your shoes ready. Stop saying all reggae songs sound the same. You need to listen to
Oh
more
no,
reggae.
we about to go to reggae again. Oh, Jesus, put me in the
I
ether.
don't know the lineup.
Jesus, put me in the ether right now. Put me in the ether right now, Jesus. Sweet, if we gonna listen to reggae all night, sweet Jesus, put me in the ether right now. Where you
I,
at, Keith? I'm in the ether, nigga. I'm in the ether.
you need to do what Deepa Jaba is talking about. Light the incense.
No, no. Every reggae song sound alike. Shit drives me crazy. Got that same beat. Like, hey man, can y'all mix up the beat on this shit? Shit, I ain't gonna lie. One of the worst clubs I went to was that when I was in Jamaica, and it was and that's what I get for being stupid. I know I'm in Jamaica, but I didn't know they was gonna play reggae music all damn night. I said, man, I gotta get the hell out of here. Shit. Even though you're in Jamaica, they should not be playing reggae music all damn night. God damn.
So make sure to join Jovi and Kamlesh.
And,
I'll see you tomorrow on the
and all
block
kind
party.
of fat white women dancing all weird by me. Like, hey man, go away. What's wrong with you? Shit.
Enjoy the rest of your day, family. Enjoy the rest
What's
of your
up?
day, kids.
What's up, fam? I'm going to eat the be fucking with Joe B. Campbell and this Jamaican shit. I'm going to eat the right now.